Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. Today I'm going to be reviewing a lot of altcoins that were posted in my Telegram group. The link is in the description. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. I'll just briefly go into BTC USD really quick. I review BTC quite a bit, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. To me, it looks pretty bullish in the short term, in the sense that I think that these sellers around 58,000 or so are getting tapped over and over again. I believe that these sellers are probably getting mostly filled, and that price is going to fill out the rest of this inefficient move, which was seen around 61K to 58 at this point. I think it's likely that we see some sort of negative reaction for Bitcoin around like the 60,000 area. There should be some more sell side pressure at that point, and even higher. There's going to be some around 62 and eventually obviously 65. Those are the levels to watch. Still not really sure if this is really necessarily the quote-unquote bottom yet, but let's just see. I would expect this to be bullish though in the short term. Something like this would make sense to me as an SR flip. Contextually, I think that Bitcoin is still fine for the most part. I mean, it's going to be like some sort of big ranging price action. I don't know where the exact bottom is going to be, whether it's 50K, 45K, like mid 30s. Maybe this was the bottom. I honestly have no idea. I know, people say, oh, like, you study TA, so like, why don't you have a good idea? Well, technical analysis, I'm not an expert, as I said, so I still am a bit confused as to where the actual bottom is. I don't really know. I mean, on the one day, it still looks like it could be starting to be a trend change in terms of it making a lower low. If you denote this as a current low. But as I said in my last crypto market review, highs and lows really stand out to you on the chart, and if you wanted to argue that this was not a significant low, I could totally see that. To me, these last lows established in January and early March, these were more significant lows. You can see how it took a long time for price to establish this low for both of these situations, and not really so much back in late March. So to me, it's still choppy price action. I still am bullish going up to 60 and the low 60Ks, but after that, I have no idea. I would expect a negative reaction there. So yeah, those are kind of my brief thoughts on Bitcoin. ETH USD, I still think that this chart overall looks way better than Bitcoin. Accumulation pattern in mid-January, followed by a 40 to 50% move, depending on how you chart this, followed by a longer accumulation period, and then now another move up. Now it looks like it's going to hit 3,000 pretty confidently, in my opinion. I think that this is still going to hit the mid 3,000s almost certainly. And yeah, this still looks really good. ETH BTC should also do really well as well. And sorry if I'm briefly flying through this. I just wanted to make this a very quick part. I wanted to get more into the altcoins that people requested. ETH BTC is still the same thoughts. I mean, this still, in my opinion, is going to go to 0.055 at a minimum. 0.8 is also very possible as well. If Bitcoin does run for a bit, though, then I expect this to pull back in the short term. But as you can see in this market cycle chart, I do believe that alts are going to have its second run. And I still feel that that's going to happen. Buying dips on ETH BTC would be solid. Like 045 would be like an interesting area, and then 040 would also be interesting as well, in my opinion. Okay, so let's just get into some charts. ETH I'm sorry, this is Link BTC. Link BTC looks okay for now. I think it's likely that Link BTC actually hits 0.03, or I'm sorry, this is 83k Satoshis. I think it's pretty likely that this happens. The 200-day EMA just got flipped bullish, and price has been consolidated on that area. And for the first time in a long time, really since, what is this? Bullish cross back in May 2019. We're about to see another 50 to 200-day EMA bullish cross on the daily. This is quite good, in my opinion. And I think that Link will probably go up to like 100k Satoshis. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I actually capitulated on my Link bag. I was a known Link hater for really the last few weeks and months because I had a bag of this. It did go 2x for me, but overall I'm still not really super happy about how it performed relative to other altcoins. So I've decided to move that money to more active trading like Cake and Matic and all those other coins, and I'm really quite happy with the results. But this looks bullish to me. I mean, 83k should almost certainly get touched in the next few weeks, in my opinion. But I'll hop back in maybe if it starts to move again. RSR, this is fine. I know this is a very loyal community that RSR has. To me, this is still like in its big range. As you can see, this range between like 10 cents and 0.75 has just been like it's been pretty constant overall. Like this has just like been ranging since mid-March, so I'm not sure if it's ready to move yet. I mean, another test of these highs around 10 cents should be coming. It's coming like right now. And this was just a false break that we saw before. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this kind of tap this and then maybe reject a little bit and then go up to the highs, reject, and then go higher. That's kind of like what I'm expecting overall. I wouldn't necessarily call this like a ready to buy situation though. I mean, if anything, it's probably a decent short at 10 cents. With that said, I'm not going to be shorting this because it already tapped these levels 3 or 4 or 5 times. So there probably are not going to be too many sellers left in this area. I do think it's going to break. I just don't know when. It looks fine overall. I mean, not necessarily a trade I'd take, but that's just me. Solana looks good overall. However, it's pulling back. To me, I marked this fib. This is a really quick one. I don't know if this is like a correct one. I will have to maybe clean this up a little bit. Overall, I am bullish on Solana. However, I do believe that the 0.38 is going to get tapped. So I have bids in like the low 30s. Let's see if this happens. Low 30s and at $30. These two areas are the areas that I'm marking, really. And there's probably going to be a lot of confluence. Yeah, okay, so like the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up to like this $35 area. That's where I would bid if I were you. I wouldn't rush to buy Solana right now. It's still obviously very bullish, but there's a lot of high sell volume coming in, so you'll want to watch out in regards to this in the short term. But 34 to 30 is kind of like my buy zone. SFP BTC looks pretty bad. I mean, this doesn't look too good. I mean, you see this trend line. This just is making lower highs, lots of chop. I don't really see this as like a good buy at this time. There's no part of this that screams buy to me. I mean, it's there's no higher highs, no higher lows. It doesn't look like it's really accumulating that much. It just looks like it's constantly downtrending. Definitely would not be in this personally. Good buy might be like 3,600 or something like that, like right here. Maybe this is a good buy, but this area has been tapped several times, so be careful, in my opinion. Like this support zone has been tapped, and as I always say, the more times that price revisits those levels, the more bearish it is, or the weaker it gets. I'm sorry. SXP, this is having good gains overall. I think that this should be a negative area soon. I mean, this is probably a decent shorting area, to be frank and honest with you, around $5. I do have a bag of this. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this come back down to like the low mid fours. This to me still looks like a short though. I am bullish on this because of the SXP BTC pair. I think that looks really good. However, this USD pair I think looks pretty. It's like a pretty scary area. Like there should be some sellers around here, given it's been almost an entire month since price reached this area last, and usually, generally speaking, the more time that price takes in between certain levels, like usually the stronger the first tap is. So what I'm trying to say is, like, if you see price going up to a certain level, rejecting, and then over the next one day it grinds up and eventually tests again, you'll see a break in that situation. However, if you see something like this, where you see like a big parabolic move, hit a level, big rejection, consolidation for a while, then like a month later, tap it again, it's more likely to reject in that situation. Time really does matter in terms of the overall momentum. So like, you know, you'll see this in this first one in very trending coins. You'll see that like in Solana and Matic and Cake and all those other types of coins that just like pumped really strongly lately. Whereas this second example is more like what SXP is doing, but the volume is still really good. I don't think it's going to break on this first go, but that's just kind of my opinion. I don't know. I mean, I would personally wait to buy like around like $4 would be like an interesting entry in my opinion. Beam BTC, have not seen this one in quite some time. The 200-day EMA actually got flipped to support, which is good after some really strong buying, as you can see, with some really strong volume. To me, this kind of looks like a rounded bottom reversal. I wouldn't necessarily buy yet. Actually, I'm going to go like this. I'm just going to clean this chart up. I don't think I would personally buy like this right now. You can see this swing low before acting like as a SR level. This was a significant support level, and now it's flipped to resistance. So what I would like to see, I mean, it's kind of looking like a cup and handle, to be frank and honest with you. Something like this would make sense to me. So here's your cup and then your handle, and you'll see price do this, and then you'll see it reject and then go up. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Dash BTC, haven't looked at this one in forever. This one looked like it had some moon. I'm sorry, this is Dash USD. This one looked like it mooned for the most part. I mean, super huge buy volume with good movement and then pull back. This was like a bullish accumulation period. And then it hit its second high, which was a higher high. And I'm not sure if there's any history to the left. It doesn't look like there is, but you're going to see this too in the next coming months. Many alt USD pairs are going to hit all-time high levels. The alt BTC values, however, I am less. I'm like pretty skeptical on those hitting all-time high levels for the BTC pair, but this still looks fine to me. Looks like there should be some sellers around 323. It looks like it potentially could be breaking out right now, but I would personally just wait for a break, something like this. This is kind of the trade I would take, probably. Wait for it to hit like 370, 380, pull back, and then buy a retest. It still looks fine though overall. Like it's still okay to me. I don't think this is necessarily bullish. Still like a bearish market. I'm sorry, I don't think it's necessarily bearish. I think it's a bullish market structure with higher highs and higher lows. LTC BTC, I feel, is one that is ready to move soon, but again, I have been waiting on this for a long time. We are about to see a 50 to 200 day cross on the EMAs. Again, that's not something that we have seen in quite some time. We haven't seen that since like early 2019. So it's been quite some time since that, which is actually an eternity in crypto terms. But this still looks good. I think LTC has more upside than BTC and ETH at this point, honestly, given their respective market cycles and where each are in terms of price. FET, USD, this looks bad. I mean, this really pumped hard. Uh, and this looked like distribution overall. Like it's always really hard to tell when a coin is in accumulation or distribution. This looked like short-term distribution, and price is rebounding. We are about to see here, in my opinion, if this is going to be a sustainable move. I mean, you can fib this out too. I'm sure this is going to hit like some, yeah, see the 618 area, and I'm sure it's even cleaner if you used higher time frame charts. So like this area would make sense as like the impulse, is because you saw a lot of accumulation around this area, and then move up. As I said, it does make sense to see this 618 level hold, but in my experience, when you see this type of price action, it's usually about to like make a lower high, and then you'll see like just a lot of chop. You'll see a lot of chop, and then price consolidate. Like if you want to look at something like this, look at Aave. Aave has like this type of same setup, but just over a different time period. This is neutral. I don't know if I'd buy it personally. I mean, I expect more downside. If it makes its way back up to 82 cents, I think it's quite likely that this will be a good sell area. BTT, USDT, this looks like I drew a line. This is just going to keep chopping around. Given how far this exploded up, usually price needs a long time to kind of just reset. Yeah, this is insane. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see this just keep chopping around. Can fib it out. Can fib out the I don't know if I would necessarily mark that. I would mark it a little lower personally. This to me looks just neutral. I mean, I wouldn't buy this. Like this is still bearish market structure on the lower time frame charts. What you're going to be looking for BTT is something like this, and then you'll see it go higher. I think that it looks okay, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't buy it at this point. DENT USDT, this looks okay. This is a similar chart as FET. So like you'll just quick fib here on the daily. Support at the 786 fib level with good volume coming up now. But similarly to the other coins like BTT, this O2 area is going to be a good sell zone when price eventually gets backed up to that point. As I said before, like FET, I wouldn't necessarily buy it. Like there could be some short-term upside, but I still expect like some overall chop on this before it starts to move. And that's when you see something moving this hard and then pulling back, usually it needs some time to recover. Ren, I was wrong on this one. I thought that it really was going to be like looking pretty good. It looks like it was tight accumulation, but instead what we got was liquidation for a lot of people. It looks okay for right now. I think it's still okay. And the important thing too is that this is a decentralized finance coin. So I feel that this will be fine. I was wrong though. I thought this was pretty bullish, but it was not. So definitely was wrong about that. In the meantime, I would like to see this $1 area flipped. Ray, this looks good. Looks like it's going to break all-time high levels. And these first initial price listing wicks are they're important in general because they do provide good SR levels, because really this is all that we have in terms of the history. But it would make sense to me that this is eventually going to just go up. I think it's strong too because anything in the Solana ecosystem is just going to be really good in the next few weeks. So this is bullish overall. Would look to buy dips at like the $12 area, probably. Like the former swing highs, around there on the daily. And yeah, I mean, $12, I mean, is kind of like the area that you can see here. NEBL, BTC, I have no idea what this is. This is hilarious price action. I mean, crazy wicks. This is like clearly illiquid. Don't really have much to say about this coin. I'm sorry if you are in this coin. It looks like some sort of maybe rounded bottom reversal happening. Maybe you could maybe say that, but I will give you advice. If you are in this coin, I would just set sell like really high, because it's clear that this is a pretty liquid coin. You see like these massive, insane wicks, clearly from some sort of like pump and dump market maker or whatever. But I would just set my sells up like high. Like if you were in this, I don't know if you were in this now, certainly would just look at certain levels and just set them. Set the sell orders if you are in this, like 18K Satoshis and then like higher. Will it hit these higher levels? I have no idea, but I mean, this looks like an old coin. This is kind of what I'm talking about too in terms of what I was saying with regards to alt BTC pairs. Alt USD pairs will all hit all-time high levels, but alt BTC pairs with some of these older coins, like the 2018 coins, I really don't believe they will personally. Yeah, I don't think that these will hit all-time high levels. The market's just way different. There's a lot better, newer coins. And yeah, so like just look to see also how big the drawdown is in general. Like it's quite insane. Like if you bought back there at like the higher levels, it's like negative 99%. It's yeah, that's pretty, just even if you just bought even more conservative, like in this other area, it's still negative 99%. It's sorry if you've been holding for a while. VET Tether, it was a moving coin and trending, but this also hit really a big downtrend in the short term. This is what distribution looks like too. So make sure you study this pattern. You can see volatile wicks in both directions, and you see high sell volume. So it's always easy again to tell where the top is after it happens, but this is a good indication of like what market tops look like. This looks fine. As I said before, it's going to hit lower levels and then chop around. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this hit the 17 cents area again eventually. Alice looks pretty decent. I thought this area around $15 would be a sell zone, and it looks like it did pull back. However, it's now testing it again. It looks decent to me. This is kind of what I predicted before, was a tap up rejection, and that's kind of like what it did. And then it looks like the next area up would be like 1850 or so. That's kind of like the area of interest. It looks decent for the most part. Not necessarily sure if I'd buy here. I would wait until a break and then a retest, or I would just start bidding around $12 or so. REEF, my good friend, Crypto Meow Meow, I think his exact tagline on Twitter is, he thought this would outperform. I thought it looks pretty good in general. 200-day EMA is holding up as support. This coin did have a lot of FUD in regards to the FTX stuff and overall supply and people dumping and just like a lot of FUD in general. I mean, it's fundamentally a good project, but it's still within its long range ever since February. Usually, I mean, I would like to think this is accumulation. I mean, this doesn't really look like distribution to me. I think that this will continue to just chop around and then eventually test these highs around 0.45 or so again, and then eventually 0.5. I expect something to come up, tap this, reject, and then go. But this area has been tapped already once before, and then the sellers are probably going to get filled after that. VRA, Tether, Veracity. I have some other friends in this one. This looks pretty bearish overall. I mean, you can see high sell volume coming in. Price is now hitting a potential lower high. This fib looks okay to me. I know I just did it just now. Maybe a little higher. Like this. This would be okay. The 0.5 was support and almost the 12-hour 200 EMA. It looks okay, but I mean, I don't necessarily think it has like the best upside. 0.05 should certainly have resistance. This is like a pretty easy sell zone in my opinion. And we'll see the rejection after that and see how price responds. If you start to see price do something like this though, where price kind of grinds up and then like chops around like this is more bullish and sustainable than like a big move up. If a big move up happens quickly, and then it should get rejected quickly as well. ENJ, USDT, I was wrong on this. I thought this would have some support there, but it actually did a full retrace, so definitely wrong on this chart. ENJ did tap the 12-hour 200 EMA, and overall looks fine. I mean, it looks like it's going to hit like some sort of accumulation zone though, something like this. My guess is that it just kind of chops around, and we'll see. Like it had a big move up recently, and then it fully retraced, and now it's chopping around again. Not really any thoughts on this. I don't see any clear trade personally with the way I trade. So might see some sort of like resistance come up like this and then like a short-term double top. But okay, so these are all the coins. Thank you for submitting them on Telegram. I really appreciate them, guys, and thank you for all the support. Good luck.